Hi everybody, my name's Ryan and I'm sat here with Tommy. We're two directors from Deverellsmith and we're here to talk all things estate agency today. Tommy, how are you, mate?
All right, yeah.
I'm good.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, just spent all day with you, but that's fine. Tommy, why are people moving today, or why are not people moving today?
I think it's the same old thing, right? People either move the job because they dislike the boss, if they're in a situation where they're not getting paid enough money. So it's always the same thing. So what I suggest that people tend to find is if they are in a position where they are looking for a job and they're not being paid enough, go and speak to your boss. Go and speak to your boss, ask the question. If the question is, no, I'm going to give you more money, speak to people like us. But if you're in a situation where that can be resolved, that's a really easy thing. If you don't like your boss, or if you're in that situation, then I think that's the case. I also think, especially in agency, it's different market to market. Some markets are a bit slower. Some markets are still moving and more transactional. So we're finding that that's been the situation at the moment. What have you noticed in that?
I don't know, do you think people are asking for too much at the moment with the hybrid working and all the benefits? There's so many benefits at the minute, yet people are asking for more.
Yeah, I'm fully aware that there is flexible working in lots of industries, ours included, but in a state agency, it's a customer-facing role, right?
There, right?
Can you be in a situation where you can work from home and do viewings? No, like it's a 24-hour job in some sense. So I think that part of it. I do think when we get into different roles and operational roles, property management definitely needs some flex. But no, I think that's part of the reasoning on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in terms of if you was looking for a new role, you're not, are you?
No, not at the minute, no.
Good. What advice could you give someone?
I just think you've always got to work backwards. Like, you got to work out exactly. Like, I get candidates call me all the time and like, is there anything on the market? And I'm like, what do you actually want to do?
Yeah.
Especially when people are saying, oh, I fancy a change. And I'm like, cool. Work backwards. What do you like about your current role? Why? Okay, cool. Let's embed that within the new role.
Yeah.
And really work backwards and understand, right, if that's what you want to do, let's find an industry or a sector within the real estate world that works with that.
Yeah.
And then the money will just come secondary, because if you're really good at your role and you're enjoying the space that you're in, you're typically going to do all right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I find it fascinating at times, because I do think people sometimes get in their own heads and they think like the grass is always greener. It isn't always greener, right? So I think there is a situation where people just need to take a step back, not react and be reactionary. And then I think that can make a huge part of it.
Absolutely. Next question I've got for you, Tom, is what advice could you give anybody who's looking to progress their career?
That is a good question. I think progressing your career is twofold, right? What is progression for people? Some people it's money, right? If you're earning more money, then go to the place or platform that's going to give you the most money. If it's career progression, if you're working at a certain company and there's a real flat structure, that's going to make it really difficult for someone to progress. So I think it's twofold, depending on the situation. So looking at where you can build your career and you can go somewhere long term, definitely think about that. If you're in that position where you're not at that leadership level yet, look at a business that you can get that to. If it's something where it's just more money, go where you get the best platform. And when I talk about platform, I don't just talk about basic salary. It's where you can earn the most commission. Yeah. What do you think?
I just think we're seeing slightly different structures at all levels at the minute of offerings in terms of the progression ladder, but especially at the senior leadership level. There seems to be a lot more people now seeking that kind of exit plan. Yeah. And I know you've been involved in a load of deals recently where, you're having to structure exit plans and LTIP shares or whatever it may be for people to grab a piece of the pie. But what advice could you give business owners if they're, trying to retain the senior leadership level person?
Catch it first, catch it early. I think that's something that's really important. I think if you've got a business where you've got someone who's been with you for a long time, or you see someone as an emerging talent, or you're looking to hire that person, sometimes having 100% of something is great, but it needs to be a situation where if you're giving stuff away, but it can enhance your business, that's the stuff where you give it away. I think in the few deals that you're talking about, people have actually give away parts of their business, but actually the people that are in there should actually enhance that by a multiple of 2 or 3, which obviously makes it a bigger slice of the pie. So I found that relatively interesting at the moment.
It's the fun part of the market.
It is the fun part of the market. It's fast moving. There's lots of moving parts, but that's the bit that's been quite exciting over the last couple of years.
Maybe the non-fun part of the market is the Renters Reform Act that everyone's talking about.
Yes.
What's your thoughts?
And how
do you think it's going to affect the market, more importantly?
I think the next 2 to 5 years, we've already seen it already. We've got particular clients that are lettings-only businesses that are now looking to bring in a sales function, which I find fascinating because landlords are selling up. The accidental landlords are not going to be a thing, or they're going to be a thing of the past, right? We're seeing it already. So I think the institutional landlords are the ones that are going to really drive it. What I do believe, and again, this is only my opinion, please don't take this as gospel, that the sales market will pick up. And I think it will eventually be a situation where it will correct itself in terms of pricing. And there's going to be so much stock on the market, property prices will have to come down, which means the mortgage market will go, mortgage rates will continue to come down, and then hopefully we'll see a real kind of impact on that. But I do believe, and this is again only my opinion, that there is going to have to be some correction. I don't think it's going to be in 3 months. I don't think it's going to be in 3 years. It's just when that is going to be, it'll be quite interesting. I don't know what your thoughts are. I know we've talked about it loads, the rent reform. You've had some big hitters on your podcast, so what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've asked this question to many sort of exec leaders across the industry, and everyone's got a slightly different answer to it, but they're all getting ahead of the game. And they've got various different scenarios, because obviously the reform hasn't come out yet, right? The bill's still waiting to be out there. But I think it will have a good effect on retention. Because obviously if the negotiators are going to be paid monthly rather than upfront, then they're going to build pipelines. Do you know what I mean? So there's always a positive spin, and typically as a nation we just pivot to accommodate them.
It will be interesting how businesses work alongside that, though. Because if it was me and I was looking at, if I was a negotiator, I'd be like, great, I'm walking in, I can go on holiday. I don't have to do another deal. So it's almost like recruitment. If you've got a temp desk, right? It's almost a similar thing. But there'll be some people who say, well, I'm not going to get paid my 10% now, 15%. I'm not waiting for it to be drip fed. So I know there's a few businesses that have done that previously that are set up pretty well, but 85, 90% of businesses are not set up that way. So that's going to be quite interesting. So
you mentioned briefly there the mortgage world. I know that's one of the divisions that you cover at deverellsmith. Are you seeing good activity in the mortgage world at the moment?
Yeah, like we've got Hugh as our mortgage man, as we all love Hugh, and I think he's brilliant, right?
What a nickname, by the way.
Sorry?
What a nickname, the mortgage man.
The mortgage man, is a pretty good nickname. So look him up on LinkedIn, the mortgage man. But no, he is in a situation at the moment where he's got clients that are recruiting. But again, it's the same thing, the best talent in the market. So the one thing I do think in this market, when it is slightly tougher, and I think something we haven't discussed, is having the best talent to do deals. I think the COVID boom, I don't know if you remember, it was when you first started, right? You've walked in and think, this job's easy, right? Well, literally everyone was hiring everyone, and you was getting a candidate in as an interview, right? That's not the market now. So it's very similar in our world where it is a little bit tighter, so people are going to make better decisions. I do think we're in a situation now in the next kind of couple of years that if the market does stay as it is, you're going to need the best operators. So if you've got the best operators in your business, fantastic, look after them, pay them what they need. If you haven't, go and get them. That would be my advice.
Thanks very much, mate.
Cheers, mate.
I've enjoyed this. We should do it again.
Yeah, let's do it again. Cheers.